Good evening, bookworms. We have Michael David Anderson today.
And stay tuned for the great fangbanger debate. Welcome back, bookworms. As you may notice, we have a guest with us here today. Introduce yourself, guest.
I am Michael David Anderson. I'm the author of Teddy.
And as you know, we have been blowing you people up with Teddy news.
Sorry,
We're sorry, not sorry.
Pretty much.
I'm not sorry.
He's not sorry at all.
Not at all.
So we talked about you having a successful campaign on Pub Slush.
Yes.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of an update. How many copies have you sold out at this point?
Probably including Pub Slush, just physical copies, because I haven't been keeping up with the ebooks. Sorry. Probably over 40 copies, and I just had another shipment come in with another 50.
Wow.
So, which I'm going to be selling copies at the Fanboy Expo at the end of the month.
Which the Fanboy Expo, for you Knoxvillians, is coming up at the end of May.
So we are actually really excited about that.
And I'm actually going to be on his little street team. It's unofficial. He called us out on Facebook. And I will be hawking copies of Teddy.
And she'll be wearing that
I'm
outfit.
Going to be like
if you
walking
want to
around
by.
randomly saying, "Oh, this is the most wonderful book I've ever seen."
And then I'm going to look
You
under...
must have it, darling.
Now I'm going to look under the table and be like, where did all my copies of my book go?
Oh. Well, I'll get you the money. I'm good for it.
Well, I
good for
understand.
it.
I
Don't
understand
trust
that.
her.
Yeah.
Hey, you know where to find us.
Shady.
I know where to find you now, maybe.
Just because I'm a creature of the night does not make me shady.
You got lipstick on your fangs there, Sweet Pea.
It's blood.
Sure it is.
Mm-hmm.
And here I just showed up without stakes whatsoever.
You wouldn't want to.
I didn't realize I was walking into an episode of True Blood today, so...
Okay. You were jumping the gun.
I was.
You are. And
Okay.
Mm-mm.
See, he's part of our tangents now. We sucked him into our tangent world.
We love tangents here. We can't
do.
help it.
Okay, focus.
Okay.
I'm a writer. I'm the master of tangents. And I just cut them out later, so...
Aww. Sad.
That is sad, because we like some of Teddy's tangents. Speaking of Teddy,
Speaking of Teddy.
we want to talk about Teddy. Would you mind talking about
That's
Teddy with
perfectly fine.
Okay.
If I didn't talk about Teddy, there would be a problem.
us? Casey and I did rock, paper, scissors earlier, and she won first question. So
So,
go, queen.
okay. Now this is something I thought when I was reading the book. And the question is, we get to experience Teddy experiencing dreams. And throughout the entire book, he has some very screwed up, nightmare, freak you out in the middle of the night kind of dreams.
Yeah.
None of it happy.
You couldn't sleep
when
she first started reading the book.
I have a
had to
problem
put
with
it down.
scary stuff, and it made me a little frightened. I have a little nightlight I plug in. I plugged in my nightlight. I ain't gonna lie.
Then I did my job.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
But my question is, does Teddy get to experience other kinds of dreams? Those happy, frolic, I can fly, I'm president, prepubescent kind of dreams?
Rarely.
Rarely.
Why?
Rarely. There's something innate about what happens to him where he always tends to get the most psychically disturbing. So if he's around, it pretty much works for anyone within a mile radius of where he's at.
Okay.
So the odds of something bad that he can pick up on within a mile is
So
pretty
he's sort of
high.
automatically drawn to that darkest
Yeah.
voice, if you will.
Yeah, and it's nothing that he has any control over. It just automatically happens.
And he's 20.
He's 20.
20. Okay. So that must have been.
Yeah,
That must be horrible.
Yeah.
It's difficult for him, obviously, and it's one of those things where he's constantly having to deal with it. Like, he has to be optimistic, otherwise it would probably just drive him mad.
It would destroy him. And now I understand more fully in our forum interview when you talked about you would never survive a day as Teddy.
Yeah,
I totally get that now. No
Well,
one can survive a day as
yeah.
Teddy.
Once we read Teddy.
Yeah, we were like, no wonder he doesn't want to be Teddy. I don't want to be Teddy.
No.
I didn't want to read some parts of Teddy because it was pretty intense.
It was pretty intense.
Let's put it this way. Like, I've done acting before. Like, I was in acting in high school and whatnot. So, it would be one of...
That's funny. I like it. I was in acting. It's
So,
not bad.
but, anyway,
Sorry, it's my tangent.
here we go again.
Wow. We we have someone here special talking to
trying
us,
to behave.
and you're giggling like a little schoolgirl.
But anyway, so I did acting in high school. I actually tried doing like independent films for a while, and just never worked. But if Teddy were ever made into a movie, which they would probably butcher, but
Which they always do.
yeah, it never fails. But I wouldn't want to play Teddy by any means. There's a character in the book named Sullivan Doyle. I would prefer
Yes.
to play.
I could see that.
So
You are the puppet master.
So
Make them dance.
yeah, exactly. That would be the character I would want to play.
But okay, speaking of tangents, you mentioned if they ever did make Teddy into a movie. Now, if I remember correctly, you've written a screenplay. Is that correct?
One of them's
Two.
published. I was actually before I decided to go ahead and release Teddy, I was actually about to publish my other screenplay, and I've delayed it. So I was actually
Just to bring Teddy out.
exactly.
That's awesome.
So
Well, thank
it'll
you.
be
We definitely appreciate that.
so it'll probably be next year before I do. So it'll probably come out between Teddy and the next book I'm working on.
Okay.
Awesome.
you.
I'm super excited.
I know. It is really exciting.
I'm one of those people, just by the way, warning, if I find something I like absorb everything about that person that the person's ever written, so I go a little, about it. So
That's
be
fine.
fair. Just be
I'm-
fair.
She's already read your poetry. I'm really surprised she hasn't tried to sell your screenplay to people.
My
I can do that.
She can do that.
My screenplay that's out now, I actually wrote it in the year after I graduated high school. So
Wow, so young.
yeah, well, I was writing full-fledged novels at 14.
Overachiever.
So
That
There-
fits my little books at home that I write. Do shame.
but there's actually a book I wrote my freshman year of high school that I ended up deleting entirely, and it was 500 pages.
Was that intentional?
It was intentional.
Just because you didn't feel it anymore? Or...
No, because I thought I would be locked up.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna.
If Teddy is the tame version of what he does, I'm terribly frightened.
Yeah.
It is,
So
it's actually tamer than a lot
we
of my
had a
other
question. We're gonna throw that one out on that, and
We don't want to know.
we don't want to know the answer to that after all.
writing. No, I can still answer that question. It's probably not that bad, I promise.
You warned me, and after hearing that statement, let's just go with the next question. Is
Next
that all right?
question.
Next question.
Okay.
I had to write it down. So at the end of the coda, you gave the dates November 1st, 2009 to March 7, 2011.
Yes.
And Casey and I got into a little fight the other night.
We had a debate as to what the heck.
No, this wasn't a
does
debate.
that
This
mean?
was a fight. We kind of got
I didn't
pulled
hair
apart.
pull.
You took off your earrings.
Well, I mean, we were
And
getting
you
ready to
did the
throw.
little...
We were getting ready to throw down.
We
I'd have taken off the ring next and slipped on the brass knuckles. Think I won't.
What brass knuckles? Those brass knuckles? They're too tiny for your
I have a real pair.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so what are those dates? We have to know. Like
Well,
we've been trying to figure it out.
I'm going to counter ask, what do you think they are?
Okay. I thought this is kind of a weird.
I disagreed completely.
Well, I don't care. Shush. I had a feeling because we at one point in the book, spoilers, duh, we had
They should have read it by now.
we had split teddies.
Right.
These different awarenesses that were still Teddy. However, at the end, it seemed they came back together. However, okay, I thought maybe these two different dates and locations could be the different times that the different Teddies are writing that same manuscript. Because it did say that these are Teddy's memoirs.
Right.
So I thought maybe, okay, we still have two Teddy consciousness out there. And
I
each
just didn't
of
see
them,
how that could work, though.
well, it could. Because
I don't see how that could possibly work.
there were two
because
Teddys
they
at the same time anyway.
merged. So when they merged, the manuscript would have been at the same time.
But
at
he
the
never
same
finished
point in
the
time.
other manuscript that was written for him.
But that manuscript wasn't written by Teddy.
No, but it was written by the other guy.
Okay, we had the author.
And look what I've done. I've started a debate.
I mean, yes, this is why we can't have nice things.
We're never going to have anyone else back on our show.
Yes, they're good. They're going to come on the show because they hope that they get to sit between two vamps. Sorry. Okay,
We'll play the skank card. Anyway,
Okay, so what do you think it is?
where's your intelligent argument now, sweet pea?
Let's just have an anti-argument.
Okay, put us out of our misery. What do they mean?
It's actually a lot simpler than you're trying to make it.
Oh, of course it is.
So
Was it the first manuscript and then Teddy's?
No, it's not even in the fictional part of it.
It was the time you wrote Teddy.
Yes.
Ah! That was my second choice.
Yeah.
I almost had that one.
You never said that.
I was thinking it.
Yeah, no, I started writing it in 2009 when I lived in Washington, and I finished it in 2011 when I lived in Florida.
Wow, I overthought that one entirely.
Yeah, we were really like gunning for something.
I know. We
awesome.
were like,
It was
this
a
is
little
gonna be-
anticlimactic.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, I usually put dates.
Well, that's neat.
When I was writing.
No,
I didn't.
It makes a lot more sense than my theory.
way more
Yeah.
sense.
But I wasn't writing it that entire time. I actually put it on the back burner for a year during that period. So
And then picked it back up.
So like I started it for NaNoWriMo National Novel Writing Month in 2009, and I wrote the first 50,000 words roughly, and then put it on back burner because I was actually working on another project at the time. So I picked the other project back up and took about a year off from it. And then when I went back to it, I tweaked what I had already written, went through and just rewrote, and then just pushed through and finished the book.
Now, we have some viewers who are writers, who are wannabe authors, who will make it, and
We believe in you.
We do.
Carry on, bookworms.
You said something, what was the writing contest that you were participating in?
For
the NaNoWriMo.
NaNoWriMo. It's
Yes,
National
thank
Novel
you.
Writing Month. It's not a contest per se. It's
Okay.
more of,
Like a challenge?
yeah, essentially you write 50,000 words in a month. And as long as you hit that, then
You've accomplished your goal, so to speak.
exactly. And
cool.
a lot of people will actually just finish the story right at that point. Of course, I'm an overachiever, and I wrote about double that originally. And then I cut about 10% of the manuscript out.
You remind me a lot of someone who shall remain nameless. Tess.
Casey. No. What?
Not me.
You're an overachiever.
I am not.
I meant the overachiever part. The author part, absolutely. Tess.
We need to focus.
But you guys are in the same little
Okay.
home, so.
That brings us to our next question.
We have a viewer question.
We have a viewer question, and the viewer was curious. Teddy speaks in a very interesting voice. Can you share with us your process of creating the voice of Teddy?
No, this is I'm going to say back because I need to know this one.
Yeah, I don't pre-plan anything per se. Whenever I write, I sort of have an idea of where I'm going to start and where I'm going to finish a lot of times. But as far as the character of Teddy, unfortunately, it's not going to be as thought out of a response as you're probably hoping for. But the idea of Teddy sort of came to me fully formed about a year before I started writing him. So, like, his voice was already in my head. I already had an idea. So it was really a character exercise. Now, there was a lot about Teddy I didn't know at that point. So I actually spent time, writing the manuscript, and I would find out things just in the course of writing.
And it would unfold
really
as
neat.
you were carrying. Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I know what I'm working towards, but I never, fully plan out anything.
And how to get there.
Exactly. So a lot of times, I'll start writing and I'll end up writing a scene I had no idea where it was coming from. Like the Divergent storyline, I didn't know about it until the night before I started writing it.
Okay, that seriously, that was unplanned. That was just like
That was unplanned.
There's way too many coincidences that occur in A and B that.
I mean, that can
just-
be tweaked, however.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of detail.
Yeah, I kept going back and referring to
Okay,
events and
I was going to say,
whatnot.
because that's a lot to
Yeah.
try to just
No. Well,
spin. That's brilliant.
there's I'm not going to get into too much because a lot of people still haven't read it, obviously. But a character who shows up, early on, that shows up later on. I thought it was a one-off scene, and I was going to originally cut it out. And it turned
I
out
like
that...
hearing the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I do, it's interesting.
For those of you who haven't read it, there's a scene where a certain character actually mentions me by name in the book. And that was an NaNoWriMo prompt. It was write about a character who's writing about you at the same time you're writing about them.
I know what he's talking about.
Yes.
So
that was kind of neat.
I was like, all right, I'll do this scene. And I figured I would cut it out. I figured
Because you were doing it for the challenge.
Yeah, all I was doing was just writing. And the thing is, whenever I write, I tend to look back at what I've already written and then just build off of other details I've already written. So I never write out of sequence for that reason. I always go from step to step. And that ended up being a major player. I made a point not to bring me back up. Because that would just...
I'm not going to mention myself anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that again.
The artists tend to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Well, most of the
of them
time
don't.
they don't like to push themselves.
So, but I was just like, here's a little Easter egg, and then just move on, was essentially how it was.
And I'm not going to lie, I read that through the first time, the scene you're talking about, and at first it didn't click. I was like, da-da-da-da-da, and I was like...
I'm gonna go.
And I got back, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got it, and then I felt really special.
Yeah.
I felt smart for about half a second there.
Yeah. That was one of the first things you talked about, actually.
Well, when I started writing it, I wrote that scene while I was living in Washington, and Sullivan blatantly says, I'm writing about this guy who's in Washington, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it was blatantly just calling myself out in the book. And, of course, now people are like, why is he talking about Washington? Of course, people who know me knew I lived out there. I lived right outside of Seattle for over a year, so.
Okay, tangent. How was that? I've heard good things. Tangent.
Tangent alert.
It's a great city. Don't get me wrong. When it rains like 9 months of the year,
Oh, depressing.
I like that.
yeah, that's why there's such a high suicide rate. But rain doesn't normally bother me, but it's not rain like here. It's like the really dreary, like misty, overcast.
Like, just suck the soul out of you.
Exactly.
Damn.
What soul? The undead don't have souls.
They do. It depends on what lexicon you're following. Boop, yeah.
I could get into something, and I'm not going to just now.
It would be wise to not get
Well, I could open
any
up
more in the middle of us
No,
than
no,
you are.
I could open up a whole can of worms.
Feed the
about
fire.
another-
Feed it.
Well, no.
Well, no, like it depends on also if we're talking about other people's fiction or my fiction.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna. Yeah, we want more.
Explain.
Yeah.
I have a project that's on back burner that will probably come out between. I'm going to give something away, which at the end of Teddy,
You heard
find
it here
out-
first, Bookworms. Just
At
wanted
the
to
end
let
of
you know.
Teddy, you find out on the very last page, if you look, and I don't think this is going to give anything away, that there's going to be another Teddy book.
Wake.
Exactly. It's called Wake.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Wake.
You're like the over-eager kid.
Wake.
Chihuahua. We established Chihuahua. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Wake will probably be the second of 3 Teddy books.
So it's going to be a trilogy.
3.
I knew that. I didn't you know that.
I didn't know that.
I knew that.
Did you tell her that and did
Yeah.
tell me that?
Sorry. We weren't having that conversation. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, though, the third Teddy book, there will be at least 2 to 3 books that come out between my second book and that book.
That are Teddy unrelated.
Exactly.
Okay.
Teddy.
So a lot of-
unteddy.
It works either way.
I
So a
don't
lot
know.
of projects in the works. That's basically what I'm hearing.
And one of them is going to get into subject matter like what we will be discussing later.
Yes.
Done.
It's almost time.
So, I will address that later on, but it's not a book about vampires per se. But vampires are in it.
I love books with vampires in them.
So,
I like anything with soups in it. Period.
so,
The supernatural. Sorry.
but yeah, it will
Sorry,
not.
I felt as though I needed to explain that.
But
I'm
there's
getting in so much trouble. I never get in this much trouble.
Glare at her, bookworms. Glare at her.
I don't know why. Somebody shows up on the show randomly, and all of a sudden she's in trouble all the time. I'm not trying
I'm blaming
to
this
cause
on
problems.
you.
I
I'm
would.
sorry.
Don't blame it on me.
I never blame anything on you, sweetheart.
I'm not trying to cause problems, I promise.
Yeah, he is. Don't let him lie. But if I'm correct, we had one more question for Mr. Michael David Anderson.
Oh, I threw that out because I didn't want to hear his answer.
I want to know.
Throw it back in. I want.
Fine. Okay. In trouble again.
Do it. God, she's so hard to
What's
work
the
with.
inspiration behind Teddy?
Well, I sort of covered it to a degree. It just popped into my head one day.
Okay.
But I like playing around with dreams. Like when a lot of my other fiction starts coming out, you're going to find that dreams are a big part of a lot of my stories. Okay. So it's just allowing me to play more in that aspect and really just mess with people's heads. Now,
So you just like to mess with
yeah,
us. Thanks.
yeah,
We
yeah.
appreciate that.
essentially.
For sure.
No, it's
You've just confirmed my beliefs that they just want to mess with my head.
it's fun, really. It's not that I'm trying to necessarily mess with people's heads intentionally, even though I know it's going to happen. But I find that the more interesting the dream and the more, unfortunately, twisted it becomes, the
It's
more
very
it
twisted.
pushes
Way
the
twisted.
character.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to play with that a lot more with Wake in ways that I never even touched in the first book.
Okay, am I gonna need like a dual? Am I gonna need like a double nightlight and maybe my blankie?
Pretty much.
Maybe. Because the second book is going to be a lot darker than the first.
I'm gonna have to break out my blankie. I don't break that out just on any occasion. Last time I broke out the blankie was a Shining moment. I was reading The Shining, and I had to break out the blankie. I'm not ashamed. I am not ashamed.
That wasn't on purpose.
This was not on purpose.
Did you see?
Oh,
You really had no idea.
I was unintentionally funny.
No, it's funny that you. Never mind. I think that's it, though.
I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. Well, not everything, not nearly everything, but we've covered enough to keep you satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah, give you a little taste of Teddy.
So I want to say thank you
You're
for
welcome.
lowering yourself to come on our humble show and sit between us like two cats fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Takes a brave man to sit in between us.
It really does. I'm pretty impressed, actually.
I'm not scared.
Wait until our next segment.
Then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I might make it out of here in one piece. I didn't bring steaks with me, like I said. So.
It doesn't look good, but stay tuned and check it out.
Yeah, thanks.
And now for our next segment, we are going to have the great fangbanger debate.
Put them up. I'm totally
Bitch,
going to win.
please.
So what we're going to do
Okay.
is we are going to have Casey versus Whitney on issues regarding Sookie Stackhouse and True Blood and all of that. Unfortunately, I have only seen the first 2 seasons of True Blood, so I have no idea what the hell is going to happen.
Excellent.
So, the first question, I hope you two are ready.
Let's get it on. I want a good, clean fight.
Polls suggest that the average geek watches more TV than reads books. What is your stance and why?
Beauty.
I think this is an unfair question to start with.
That's just because you're upset that I'm getting ready to take your typical
Okay.
stance.
While I agree that more geeks probably watch television in their mother's basement with a keyboard than read books,
I would never be that rude to you all, just so you know.
I would. Shit, hooker, they know me.
We know our geeks. That's not even the
Anyway,
case.
I'm talking, you're listening. I agree that they watch more TV than read books, and I'm not saying I condone this kind of behavior. However, in certain cases, sometimes you just want to watch television. And sometimes, in certain cases, that TV is better than the novels it came from. I said better. I don't take it back neither. So in this case, people, I will be your True Blood proponent.
Your rebuttal?
I'm not even sure where to start with that. There were so many holes in everything that you just said. There's so many wrong, rude, horrible things you just said about our geek population. But I'm going to take Sookie Stackhouse.
You would.
The books are always better than the movies and the TV shows. Always.
Not always.
Yes, the books
Not
rule.
always. Not always.
Showed rules. I'm just going to leave it there.
That's how it's going to be.
Pretty much.
All right.
Next question, please, sir.
Don't laugh at me. She's giggling. It's not professional at all.
So, you are normally the print/book individual,
I am.
which is kind of funny after your last answer.
I know.
You, of course, are the digital media side of this entire debate. The entire thing is rather unusual, but at the same time, I don't know where I'm supposed to go with this card.
It says cue suggestion.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
just like you could, cue a little funny joke here.
Oh,
just like insert funny joke.
I'm supposed to tell a
Funny
joke.
joke.
Now.
Yeah, so he bombed on.
Yeah, I completely bombed. Sorry.
Okay, next question.
Next card.
Hey, this
Next
happens all the
card.
time.
Next card.
Hold up a little sign that says technical
Well,
difficulties.
no, technically he's just acting so much like you. It's like having two of you here.
Oh.
The bad jokes.
I didn't tell a joke.
Or lack thereof, then.
I didn't tell a joke.
You made our guest cry. Who's the meanie weenie now?
He's not really crying, are you, honey?
No.
He's not
No.
crying. He's
Because
perfectly
he's
fine.
afraid of you. Meanie weenie. Okay, next
I
question.
wrote Teddy. How am I afraid of anybody?
I take that back. He's more frightening than anyone else we know. Twisted in the mind, people. Okay, we were having a debate.
Yeah.
Let's
We
debate
were.
on.
We
Okay.
were.
Stoneface.
All right. Now that I've totally screwed up my chance to have a joke. So,
At least on that one.
yeah. We'll see if I come up with anything else. Many have criticized the administration's point of view. Do you think it would serve the book over...
Bookwormian.
Book... Okay, I'm sorry. That's the one word I've had a problem with. Bookwormian people better to have a single voice like the book or a team of leaders like the show.
I'm going to take the lead on this one because I feel very strongly. This is why I love the book so much. Because it's written from a single point of view, Sookie Stackhouse. And she is phenomenal. She's a strong female who doesn't take crap off of anybody, but still has her Southern Belle side. Very hospitable, puts her friends and family first. Food is everything with Suki, and it can solve all kinds of problems. If everybody would just sit down with a nice cup of tea and some cookies, like it'd be awesome.
Tea and cookies are going to fix
Pretty
the problems
much.
of the world.
It's gonna fix problems of the world. I'm telling you. I love the
Hang
book
in
so
there,
much.
people in Russia and the Ukraine. Tea and cookies are
No,
on their way.
Wait, it's so in depth and so rich, but we see it all from a single point of view. So you get to see everything through this strong heroine, and I just really enjoy it.
Okay, I'm going to use that as my first reason why it's not good to have just... I'm not saying that you can't have a very well-rounded book that centers around a main character from that main character's point of view. However, I will say that it will limit you. It'll limit your ability as a writer and as a reader to explore different aspects of that universe that you're creating. If you're limiting yourself to one pair of eyes to experience everything a universe has to offer, then you're cutting out everything that you could put. You're cutting yourself off from avenues where you could take the story further and further. For example, in the show, you don't follow just Suki. You follow Lafayette. You follow her family, you follow her friends, you follow the vampires. You get to see into each one of those little mini universes, and you get to hear their stories. You get backstory that you would never have gotten if you were relying
you get
only
all
on
the
Suki.
backstory in the book. You actually get true backstory in the book. You get tons more
You get it in the
details
show
than
as
you
well.
get. You get little snippets. They just like touch it.
All I'm
but in the
saying-
books, you explain everything.
Having one central character, the only point of view you can get any information from is both unreliable and it's limited.
No, because you see her interactions. It's through the point of view, so
But
you
it's
do
also
hear
through
her
her
inner narration.
perceptions.
No, you can't perceive dialogue. Dialogue is
You
dialogue.
can't perceive dialogue, but you can have certain prejudices when one individual is interacting with another. If it's all through her eyes and her mental filters, you're not going to get an unbiased, naked view. I mean that naked. Watch the show. Of any of the characters.
I'll give you that one. No, I'll give you the naked factor.
Point me.
No, not the question. The naked factor.
I think I took that question.
There's lots of
I think I obliterated you in that question.
beauty. I'm letting you have that.
Okay. That's point me.
Moving on.
Yes, let's move on.
Giving the growing concern of citizens over the promiscuous and rampant violence in today's culture, what do you say to critics who propose there is too much booty in the show?
You didn't do it right. Will you add that little line? Because it was really funny.
It's too much booty in the show. You gotta do the little booty dance when you do the booty
You
in
have
the
to
show.
do the booty dance when you say booty. Booty, 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 booty. Okay, sorry.
Speaking of promiscuity and rampant violence, welcome to Bookworm, where we're dressed like
Fangbangers.
fangbangers.
And then the guest is just wearing a random Stephen King shirt.
As far as the show versus the books, as far as violence and promiscuity, the books are nice and respectful.
They're tame and boring.
Some people call them fluff. Some people call them, like a little bit of... You have eye candy, I'll give you that.
Okay, you say the books are fluff.
Uh-huh.
And I'll point out that the show needs fluffers. Keep in mind, you've watched some of the show, correct?
I actually haven't ever seen the show.
Never, not even once. What are we arguing about?
And I haven't even seen a preview.
What are we
I was
arguing
telling
about?
you why you should read the books.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you why you need the show. Why you need to watch the show.
You've already sold me. I need to watch the show.
First of all, some of the eye candy, as you pointed out, some and men and women both. I'm not going to discriminate here. There are some hot to trot little mamas on that
Well,
show.
Anna, I'm
Anna
sorry.
Paquin.
She may or may not be a good actress, but she is easy on the eyes.
Wait a minute, may or may not be a good actress.
Well, there's a lot of debate about that. I'm not saying anything. No opinions being put here in this debate. Cause
I mean, did you see her in Jane Eyre?
You're stomping me, so just, I haven't seen that.
Okay. While normally I agree with you, I don't necessarily gratuitous violence and sex for just the sake of violence and sex. Not really my thing.
I've never. It's one of the main reasons why
It
I've never
has
watched
to
the
serve
show.
a purpose. I will agree with you. It has to be tasteful and well done and progress the story.
Well, and in the
somehow.
books, that's how it is.
In the show, it's not.
You have sex and you have violence. You have you have beings that get killed. There's lots of murder in this book. Righteous murder, typically, but you have a lot of murder in this book. You have a lot of sex in this book. It's just not over the top.
It's not in your face.
You
so
can
to speak.
read it and not get disgusted. You can be anybody and read it and not get disgusted.
Okay, yeah. Not everyone can watch.
But
the
not
show.
everybody can watch a show.
Now let me ask you this: could a child sit down and read those books? Could a young tweenie type person, a young adult?
I could put a 16 and up in the book. I could.
I'm probably going to give this point to you just because I kind of agree with it, even though I love looking at the show, because I don't know what's his face plays Eric.
Northman.
And Joe Magliano.
But the descriptions, the visions that I have when I am reading this book of everybody, the movie that goes on in my head is amazing. And I wish they could put that up on the screen.
Okay, well, I think I'm probably going to have to just I'll give you this one. I'll let you take the point.
I don't want a pity point.
You'll take it, and you'll like it.
Somebody put on...
So apparently...
You put me in the dress. This is what happens when you put in the dress.
It's the power of the dress.
It's the power of the dress.
So apparently pity points are a thing.
Mm-hmm. You have a girlfriend, right? So
yes.
You know what pity points are, right? She throws you some pity points, right?
Not really.
No. Oh, okay.
No. Not really.
Story there. I sense something going on beneath the surface.
You just giggled at an octave higher.
Okay, wait, we're doing serious debate here.
Sorry.
Serious.
So, I only have one word for you.
I'm afraid of what you're going to say.
The people of Bookwormia have cried out in a single voice. Lafayette!
And there's your demise. Now,
This is where it all goes downhill.
let me refresh my memory. Doesn't Lafayette, who is hands down one of the best characters in that universe, get killed off in the books? Like, early on? Ooh, you mad, bro? Speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
I was looking at you. Was I talking to you? I was looking at you.
Were we having a conversation?
Last time I checked.
Okay. I'll give you Lafayette. In fact, I really didn't want to ask this question, but it needed to be addressed. All of the readers, when Lafayette died, everybody got upset. That's the one thing the fandom was actually in tears over. She got a couple of hateful emails and threats, if I'm not mistaken, when Lafayette died. And I think that the show, when 2009, they fixed the error.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I'm actually curious, because I haven't actually read the books at all. I'm ashamed. I'm
Which
deeply
is
sorry,
really,
Bookworms.
really surprising.
I know. Shake your heads at me. Send me hateful mail. My little name will appear at the bottom of the
At
screen.
Slayerstick on Twitter.
At Slayerstick on my little tweeter machine. I don't know what that thing does. When does she kill off Lafayette? It's like in the first book, isn't it? Like, first book. And you kill off the most awesomest of awesome sauce. Ooh, hooker. Woo, child.
Okay, so will you tell me just a little smidgen about Lafayette?
Okay. In the show, Lafayette does not get killed off. We think he does. There's a little sneak play there. But he actually goes on to be in every season thus far. And he is hilarious. He is this over-the-top...
He's awesome in the book.
He's over-the-top, super gay, woo child, fabulousness. Hooker. Fabulous.
I really...
But he has one of the biggest hearts of anyone on that show. And the most genuine, deep concern for the people around him. That he masks very well with sarcasm and disdain. And I can appreciate that.
Oh, well.
I can get behind that. But he is... And in a lot of ways, I think, this is going to sound really cheesy. I'm sorry, not sorry. He's the heart of that show. He's the comedic relief and he's the heart.
Well, there's kind of like a running joke. Like in the Harry Potter books, the defense against the dark arts teacher can't keep one. Hogwarts cannot keep this teacher.
I saw that in the movies.
Murlocs kind of has a problem keeping short order cooks. And that's what Lafayette, and that's what Lafayette was. So...
Okay, in the TV show, he has a hard
he
time keeping
got
waitresses.
caught up in this little running line, unfortunately.
Oh, see,
and it's really upset because he was really awesome. And there's a party, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a party that Lafayette goes to. Awesome.
See, I think we just won for the TV show right there because we have Lafayette and you don't.
Yeah, I'm going to bow down.
So does that mean
Almighty
I'm the
Cthulhu.
winner? Did I
No,
just win?
I'm Lafayette. You get that. You've had 2 points, haven't you?
And you have 2 points. What does that mean, moderator?
I think
you get the final decision.
Yeah.
Who wins?
I almost think...
Pity points, pity points.
You don't need no pity points.
If I had a question already figured out, I would say there would need to be a tiebreaker.
No, we're putting you on the
But-
spot. We intentionally only did 4
Yeah.
questions.
Like, you have to choose.
Yeah, I have to choose. And as much as I hate to side with an adaptation over the source material, I am sorry.
Here's the thing here. I already know who he's going to say, but I'll let you say it anyway.
I win.
Uh-huh.
That being said, normally I would have disagreed with you.
Normally, but not because I won.
Normally.
But not because
Well,
I won.
you're a very tempting. You've led a very tempting debate here. I would go with you. I want to watch the show now.
See?
But do you want to
Come
read
to
the
the dark
books even
side.
a little bit?
You watch the first season, I'll read the first book. Give me the hand.
I get 2 books.
Don't leave me hanging.
Whole TV.
Fine, 2 books.
Deal.
We'll check
You
it.
saw here.
We will
think
get
that's-
back with you.
I think that is a good way to solve this, actually.
Pretty much. When we have debates and we have throwdowns,
Cat fights.
we like each other way too much for that.
We do.
Pretty much.
We act like we don't, but we really do.
So check us out later.
And we'll get back to you.
Bookworms,
How she fared with the TV show and how I fared with the books.
Yeah, because she's gonna wipe out. You're gonna wipe out the books in a day. 2
I could
days,
probably read that entire
tops.
series in under a week.
And I'm a pretty good marathon TV watcher, so I think in a week we could probably do this.
Maybe next week we'll have something for you.
We'll at least give you a little. We'll throw you a little bit of it.
We'll throw you a freaking bone.
So check us out next week. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
for
being
having me.
our moderator.
For being
on our
brave
cat
enough
fight.
to sit between us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So it's Michael David Anderson, Teddy. Check it out, and
And so
see you later.
I'm going to run away now.
I'm clear. And I'm caught on my hooker dress.